How's that? Is that working, guys? Picture's a bit odd, but hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully. Technical. Tiata. Technical difficulties, indeed. Yes, technical difficulties. Can you hear me? Awesome. You can hear me. On Mrs. Kiwi's laptop, and somehow she's done something to her camera where all the background gets blurred out. So you get it is working. Thank you, darling. So yeah, cool. So yeah, a little bit different camera shot. You can't see what's going on in the background, but trust me, there's nothing going on in the background. Cheers, guys. We made it in the end. Wow. It's only 20 past, so it took 20 minutes to fix that mess. So yeah, sorry. Much apologies. My computer's at the bottom of the problem, top of the pile for replacement, I think. Yeah. So what's been happening, guys? It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. We got a Tavo. Hey, mate, welcome along. The dude, Jeff Hutchins, Steve Sadusky, Tiata. Yes, I hope I'm saying that right, mate. Tiata. Okay, Stephen Bunky I hope you had a great vacation. I did have a great vacation, guys. I really did. It was a blast to catch up with the sister-in-law and brother-in-law. Good people with a great, both of them with great sense of humours and very much Kiwi senses of humour because that's where they're from. So it was kind of good to be chilling with some other Kiwis, and that. Don't take that, all my American viewers, please don't take that the wrong way, but there is subtle cultural differences, and there's just something. It's kind of like being home when you've got Kiwi visitors here. So yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Now what? Todd Denio, welcome along. Granddad's Jugs here. Yeah, finally under control. J. Russell Finch, Kiwi, what is the piston in the thumbnail tonight? I popped that in there because it is a piston out of we went to the Kennedy Space Station, which is an awesome day. There's some amazing stuff there. And those pistons are out of the V16 diesel engines that power that, what would you call it? It's the transporter it's like 4 tracks on it. And it transports the rocket and the loading boom or whatever they call them all the way out, from where they build them out to the launch site. So yeah, I think it's 2 V16s it has. Between the two of them, they make 2,750 horsepower. You can tell I was paying attention when they were giving us that spiel, can't you? Yeah, I don't know what the capacity of it was. They didn't mention that, but hey, it was clearly a big engine and huge pistons, and they were using them for seats. They had a whole lot of them, like around these interactive computer stuff thing you could do, and they were using them as seats. And the conrod straight on the bottom of the conrod, straight on the ground, and then the height of the top of the piston was just a perfect kind of. It made a perfect stool, so it was kind of cool. Oh, Tiata, got it right. Cool, man. Thank you. Well, not thank you. I mean, thanks for confirming that. But yeah, Kiwi, don't forget Fall Carlisle, October 1 to 5. Gosh, that's racing around fast, isn't it? Okay, I haven't. Well, probably have forgotten a little bit actually, but now that you mention it, but. Steve Sadusky kept chewing on the sound cord again. Mate, I think it's just a stupid computer. It's just completely croaked. I don't know why. But hey, what you going to do? I mean, I rebooted it, but it was actually just quicker to jump on Mrs. Kiwi's one. So, Tavo, don't know about drinking scotch at 9:50, but hey, sharing a drink with your mate. Yeah. Cheers, Tavo. Cheers, mate. Who likes my glass? I like my glass. Oh, it's blurring out. See, it doesn't like this. Oh, there we go. briefly. Right. Jeff Hutchins, no customers right now. One of them bought me 2 cigars outside enjoying one, watching Kiwi. All is good. Unless one of those pesky customers shows up. Yeah, well, yeah, they can be annoying, but they're also, they keep the wheels turning, don't they? So, yeah. It's, what else is going on? Josh Homan's here. Good to see you, man. Driveway of Misfits. How was your vacation? Vacation was awesome. It was really good. Now, Tavo, those customers always turn up to spoil the workday. Yeah. J. Russell Finch, bottom ring for piston stability. Mate, I do not know. I did notice that about the piston. They did have a ring, and it looked like a compression ring, but I don't know whether it's the sheer size of it, the length of that piston that requires that, or it's a diesel thing or what. I don't know. Jeff Hutchins, I've never been drunk, so I figure I can drink whatever time of the day I want if I felt like it. No, that's fair. That's fair. Tavo, drinking out of my Pentastar glass. Very good. Good. Mopar to the bitter end, huh? Good on you, man. How's that roof coming on? I haven't seen any videos from you for a little while. Maybe I'm not sure whether you haven't put any out or I haven't seen them. But yeah, always interesting. I saw a couple of shorts you put out on some. I remember a blue Commodore. But yeah. So not a heck of a lot to report from work, obviously, because I've been out of town. I have got the F100 truck going. I actually drove it home tonight with no bed on it, just a bare naked chassis. But at the same time we were doing the chassis, as I was driving it into the workshop, the power steering failed. And I thought, and there was quite a bit of oil around, and it's like, okay, we'll have to dig into that and needed a new steering box. I think something happened in the pump, and I think I'm thinking theory. I think it's overpressurized the box and it popped the seals out of the box. I had a spare steering box, so I put that in. Because there was oil just coming out everywhere of the power steering box, the main seal at the bottom, the seal where the steering input shaft goes in, it was just pouring oil out everywhere. And so I put a new steering box in it, which is not an easy thing on one of those. I've got to tell you, they're heavy as hell. And so I got it in, hooked it all up, filled it with oil, still no power steering. So the pump had actually failed as well. So so that was a few hours today, getting all that redone. New power steering pump, new steering box. Getting the 4-speed, the Mustang 4-speed with the Hurst shifter into it, which that took a bit of finagling. Actually, the transmission popped in easy, but getting the shifter to be in a position where you could change the gears was a little more demanding. We kind of had to cut and lean the shifter and bend it a little bit to get it, so it would go through the gears without hitting the bench seat. So that was a little bit of finagling. So there you go. So I drove it home. That Hurst shifter is days better than the shifter that was on the old 3-speed. That old 3-speed shifter was just like rowing a boat. It was just somewhere in there's 3 forwards and a reverse, and just like good luck finding them. But the actual Hurst shifter is just nice and direct, and fairly short throw for a 18-inch long shifter handle. It was it was quite fun drive home. I've got to dream up a video actually to start getting out there, because that's been my first kind of day and a half back was getting this darn F100 going. So I had a truck to go and pick up engines and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah, got the one-piece drive shaft in it now. So yeah, it's pretty good. Now I've just got to get down to Kevin Tetz's and actually get this new short bed bolted on. Tiata Kiwi, I have the same T-shirt. Well, that's cool, man. Yeah. I bought this at the BP. Well, not at the BP. There's a bunch of shops there on the Southern Motorway. There's a big BP there as you're heading south on the Southern Motorway, and which you just directly. Yeah, it has its own off ramp. You come off and I'm sure you know the one. There's a bunch of other shops there. We were cruising around there at Christmas time and saw a couple of these shirts and thought, that's me. What you need is a Super Kev T-shirt, mate, or a Large March T-shirt. So yeah. Tavo, the roof is basically done. Finding lots of other holes to patch. Now, yeah, rust is the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it? Tavo. Blue VK Commodore is different Tavo. Tavo Trav and Victoria. Shit, I didn't even realise that was a faux pas, wasn't it? He must have, well, for whatever reason, he just popped up on a short. And I thought, oh, there's Tavo. I obviously didn't read the fine print, did I? Jeff Hutchins. I showed up to a gun show on Sunday morning one time. We were selling there with tables, and the guy I was with had a cooler with ice bottle beer under the table. It sounded good, so I opened one. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins at 9 a.m. I'm sure people walking through thought this guy has a problem. Well, it's pretty old and corny, but hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, isn't it? Somewhere. Thunder Nipples 289. Okay, that's a cool name. Right, the question. Hello, Kiwi. For a carburetor car, do you run the return line below the fuel level in the drain back plug of the gas tank or in the filler neck above the tank? I'm running a fuel regulator and an electric fuel pump. I've not. It wouldn't have occurred to me, I must admit, to put it in where the drain plug goes, because that's kind of going to have you pointing at the ground a little bit, which I wouldn't be excited about. I would. Yeah, you need a point of entry into the tank, and that may be what I have done in the past is actually drill into the tank, but very close to where the sender unit goes in, so you can actually reach in with a couple of fingers and get a fitting in there and get it bolted up. Alternatively, soldering a return line opening in there, but obviously you've got to have your tank out, drained, and very well cleaned out of any fumes. Or the filler neck, you could return it into the filler neck somewhere. The height of it's not that important. The fuel will get pushed back in there. It doesn't have to have a gravity fall. The pump will push it all the way to the back because it bypasses a certain amount, and then that same pressure basically pushes back to the back of the tank. It's just really a matter of finding a good spot, a simple spot, and but yeah, I'm be a little bit wary of doing it on the drain plug, using that bolt-in fitting, because the time you put a fitting in there and they're typically pointed at the ground. If it's going sideways, it might be all right. But the ones I've seen usually go towards the ground. By the time you put a fitting on there and then some hose, it might be hanging a little low, I suspect. Barracuda, provocative name indeed. Jeff Hutchins, generally you want the return to go into the reservoir so that it aerates less. Oh, it's actually pump into the fuel rather than dropping in and splashing. Yeah, well, that's a fair comment. Yeah. Yep. Phil, Phil McCracken, another good name. How you doing, man? G'day, mate. Yeah, you got to be a Kiwi or an Aussie, one of the two. What else is going on? Yeah, Granddad's Junk should be warming up a bit by now, I would have thought. Yeah, it's heading towards summer. Granddad's Junk, it's finally stopped raining. Yes, it's warming up. The whitebait season has started, so everyone is down at the river. Yay. Yes, whitebait. Haven't had white. Well, I had some whitebait at Christmas, actually, to be fair. But it's not. It's expensive stuff, isn't it? Chris Freemason, not painting the whole house, just maintenance here and there. Finished up the last bit earlier today. Well done. It's a good one to have off your back. Tavo, cold morning here with the sun shining, got me baffled. Yeah, the weather will do that this time. Well, you know, that as the seasons are changing. Stephen Bunkybird, what new videos coming to the channel? Well, I've got a few cars coming in over the next month or so, a few weeks, 2-3 weeks. So yeah, I've got a Mustang convertible which rolled in today, which the guy bought off Bring a Trailer, another Mustang off Bring a Trailer. So looks all right on the outside at a quick walk around. But we shall see. It's got a few little issues. Not much, it doesn't seem, but yeah, it's a convertible, so if it's not rusty, I'll be a little surprised. But yeah, so we'll do a video on that. We'll probably try and get that shot tomorrow. We'll get it up in the air tomorrow now that the truck's out of the workshop. I can get this Mustang in and have a look and see if we've got any nightmares there. And what else is coming? More work on the Swiss cheese project. More work on the Alpine coming soon. Yeah, pretty soon. I'm going to start really chopping into that shortly. Like some aggressive cutting on it, getting rid of all the old floor and old chassis and stuff like that. So watch out for that one. That'll be good. Yeah, and then we'll see what turns up. We've got a couple more cars tuning up. I've got a Back to the Future car. My brain's gone blank. Yeah, coming in soon. So that'll be a bit of fun. Interesting to see that. Jeff Hutchins, no customers yet. 24 minutes and I'm out of here. Yeah, good idea. Locking the door. Very good. Stephen Bunky, fun, thanks. Look forward to. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm looking forward to getting a few more videos back out there. The channel, the statistics on the channel have kind of nosedived a little bit, but you know, like what's it been? Probably close to 14 days since I've had a video out, which doesn't do the algorithm any good. But hey, got to have a break sometime, right? We went to a couple of car shows down in Florida, what was meant to be car shows, but it was all just. Both of them were all late model stuff. One was named like a muscle car driving, and I guess it was muscle cars, but it was all 2022 Mustangs and you know late model Camaros and some Challengers and stuff like that. It was all late model stuff and a bunch of Jeeps. Man, they like their Jeeps down there. Oh, picked up a bit of a cough along the way on the airplane, I think. Tavo, first thing to look for, took boxes and seat reinforcements. Indeed. Yep. We shall see. It'll be interesting. It does seem quite nice and shiny on the outside on top. but been down that road before, and you know, it's once you get to look up under the skirt that you find out what's really going on. So yeah. Jeff Hutchins, we had some nice 70-degree days here in Western Oregon. Then today it's 92, too hot. Yeah, it was meant to get really hot here this week, but it's not been too bad. It's not been too bad, so which is nice. Driveway Miss DeLorean, yes, thank you for filling in the blank spots there. I think they'll always be known as the Back to the Future car, though, won't they? That's the easy one to remember. But yeah, that's supposed to be coming in 10,000 original miles allegedly. So, but it's not running too well. So I'll see. Don't know anything about the car. Never laid hands on one before, but we shall see. Jeff Hutchins, gunsmith, gun shop. Oh, okay, fair enough. Jeff Dean, 64. Your favourite car from American Graffiti? My favourite car. It's a good question. What would it be? I guess it would be probably close between the 55 Chevy and the 58. I thought that 58 was pretty cool. I know that 58s aren't the most sought after Chevy, but I thought that one was pretty cool. I like the paint on it, the stance. It was a cool car. Barry Kudo, I saw a YouTube video about a Holden Commodore owners gathering in Missouri. Lots of them too. Yeah, there's more here than you'd think, but you know, like if 0.001 of the population own Commodores, then that's a lot of Commodores. But no, there's it's been evidently quite popular too to convert the Pontiac G8 into a Commodore lookalike, even though they were actually, you know, started life as Pontiacs. Here, people have imported like the the front and rear bumpers and the hoods and stuff like that to make them look, you know, to convert them into a Commodore. So I believe there's quite a few here like that. Barry Kudo, you like the 55, mate? Yeah. For outright speed, the 55 was the pick, but then that 58 is kind of a cool cruiser. Jeff Hutchins, yeah, you can't think of a DeLorean without a flux capacitor. Yeah, well, you know, I mean, if I make a video, if it comes in like it's meant to be, but if it comes in and I make a video on it, you know, the flux capacitor is going to come up in that video dialogue, and it just has to. Driveway of Misfits. I seem to recall the DeLoreans have a Peugeot V6 engines that aren't the greatest. Okay, I thought they were Renault, but I wouldn't. I mean, no, they're not really similar. The Peugeot and Renault are completely different brands, but they're both French. But yeah, I thought it was a Renault, but I could well be wrong, mate. And you could well be right, but I'm going to get to the bottom of it though. Jeff Hutchins, my favorite American Graffiti car is the cop car. What, the one with no rear axle? Yeah, that was. I remember being just blown away by that. The first time I saw it on the big screen in the movie theaters. That's how old I am. That just blew me away. That thing, I just did not like. I think I was about 13 or something like that when I saw that movie, and I didn't. You know, I remember watching what they were doing and tying this cable to the car, but I really didn't expect the rear axle to come flying out, and that's quite a vivid memory. Max Deep, hello mate, how are you doing? Barracuda, plenty of them were right-hand drive. Yeah, well, there's a guy here in Nashville, about 40 minutes from me, who imports the Maloos, the Holden Commodore Utes, and he has one for sale most of the time, and he seems to just keep them rolling over. Not cheap, like 50, 60 grand US, But of course, you've got to buy them in Australian dollars. But you've got to ship it here and pay whatever, charges are involved with that. So, yeah, and make a buck at it. He's not doing it, for the good of the sport. He's doing it to make a buck, which is fair. Yeah. Tavo and the nutbags here put the Chev stuff on the Holdens. People want what they can't have or what is scarce. They want to look different. They want to have something that makes people go, oh, look at that. But that's kind of hot rodding, isn't it? If the grassroots of hot rodding is putting something together that's different. So the dude, have you ever had a run-in with a drop bear? I just found out about them, mate. I don't think I have, but I don't know what a drop bear is. So there you go. Phil Buckley, hey, welcome along, man. David Tyree, V6 PRV engine, Peugeot Renault Volvo. Was that like a joint venture or something? I've not heard of that combination or that acronym PRV. So that's new to me. Chris Freemasson looked it up. PRV engine, Peugeot Renault Volvo. Well, there you go. See, I come here to bestow my knowledge upon you, and you guys teach me shit pretty much every week. Okay, but that explains why, some people think it's a Renault, some people think it's a Peugeot. Turns out it's both. Huh. There you go. Barry Cooter, I put a Chev badge in my Monaro's grill. Did it have a Chevy engine? No, that's the question. You get away with it if you got a Chevy engine, which some of the Monaros did have. Andy Nickel, good evening. Hope you had a good holiday. Mate, thank you. I did have a good holiday. It was a great holiday. Josh Homan, drop bears are a form of Australian wildlife. No, don't know nothing about them. The only bears I know of in Australia are koala bears. But the dude, I thought for sure you would have heard of the drop bear. It's an Australian New Zealand myth they tell tourists about. Basically, a deadly koala that attacks. Mate, yeah, I can imagine that happening. I hadn't heard it. I had not been told that story. I hadn't heard about that. So, yeah, but that's the kind of that's a bit of Kiwi Australian humour for sure. Yeah. Tavo, we get that you're human, Kiwi, you can't know everything about everything. Unlike one new tuner who thinks he does. Yes, well, got no idea who you're talking about there, Tavo, so we'll just leave that one there. Cheers, mate. Barry Cooter, it had a 400 cubic inch transplant. Well, there you go. Okay, you get a get out of jail free card pass for that one. So you were allowed to put a Chevy badge on there. It's all good. Jeff Hutchins, you're right about wanting what you can't have. If a truck never came as a crew cab, you want a crew cab. If it didn't come as a standard cam, you want a standard cab. If it was only long bed, on it goes. Yeah, exactly, on it goes. When there's a lot of long beds around, everybody wants a short bed, or vice versa. So yeah, that's just a human nature thing, mate, and that's everywhere. That's not an American thing. Don't think that. It's everywhere. Tavo, that's why you never camp under a large gum tree branch down here. Jeff Hutchins, Uncle Tony just dropped a video. Staying here, I'll watch that later. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I'll try and be more entertaining than your alternative. How about that? All righty. So, what else is going on? What else is who's got their car? Who's got a story to tell here? All right, what do we got? J. Russell Finch, Kiwi, not being difficult, but when are you going to finish the power seat videos? Must be frustrating for those who see part 1 and 2 then. Yeah, that did actually cross my mind yesterday. I was thinking about that. And yeah, you're right. That's kind of dropped the ball on my part. I'll give you that. And yeah, you're not being difficult, mate. It's hard to just try and get everything done. And it's not like I've really got to do a lot to that, but it's, you just put it in that big tub of the baking soda and away you go. You leave it for a week. So yeah, I do need to get onto that, but there's a growing list of other stuff I've got to get onto as well. So point taken. I will try and get onto that soon, and we'll see how it goes. Jeff Hutchins, I'm sure it's a coincidence. I'm sure it is. Yeah. Snow Crusher just bought a 46 Ford Street Rod yesterday. Very cool. Okay, 46 Ford. So small block Chevy powered, I'm guessing. A lot of those were small block Chevy powered. Now, Tavo, I've noticed how badly my body has deteriorated. First time I swapped the transit band box and clutch was a casual 2-day job on the ground. So far, day 3 sees the box finally out. Oh dear. Yeah, that's a little bit of a slowdown in pace, isn't it? 3, yeah. I'm guessing you've been dragged away or interrupted with something. I'm sure it wouldn't have taken you 3 days just to get it out. Not like 3 8-hour days, surely. But yeah, I do know I do get what you're saying, Tabo. We slow down. That's for sure. I find I can push hard for a while, like half a day, but then I need a little sit down and a little, gather up. I used to just be able to just power on. But yeah, it's, especially if you're doing something heavy, you kind of and if it's hot, the heat kicks the shit out of me worse every year. There's a certain amount of slowing down and just a few more little breathers needed. That's what I'm finding. Chavo, 4 years difference. Yeah, and of course it's not like it's the difference between 28 and 32 years old, is it? Or 22 and 26 years old. It's those gaps. While the same calendar time, you're not. As we kind of hit 60 odd, another 4 years on top of 60 is it takes a toll. Jeff Hutchins, lots of break while doing manual labour now. Yeah, it's just it is what it is. Tavo, just what the body can take before having to get up and recover. Yeah. Barracuda. I see Robert Redford has died. No, I hadn't noticed. I hadn't seen that. That's a shame. He had a good innings though. Like he was not a young man. So yeah, but a good innings. But yeah, that's sad. That's sad. Don't slow down too much, people. People will think you're a statue. Snow Crusher 318 Dodge powertrain. Dodge torsion bar K-member swap. Interesting, in a 46 Ford. They were clearly a hot rodder. They put in what they had at their disposal, and why not? I mean, it beats the hell out of putting a flathead in it, or leaving a flat. That would have had a flathead V8 back in the day, wouldn't it? 46. So 318, regardless of what camp you kind of live in. I guess there'd be some flathead fans that would find that most offensive, but yeah. I mean, the flathead V8 is a famous motor, and it was, the first mass production one-piece cast V8 and all that. A lot of milestones with the flathead V8. but horsepower wasn't really one of their milestones. I guess it was in the day, but yeah. By the time they hit 46, they were needing something better. Driveway of Misfits. Yeah, I don't want to admit it, but I can't get after something the way I used to. Right? It was just, yeah. That's the cold hard reality of it. Yeah. But we also have a little bit of advantage of experience, and sometimes you can do it. Sometimes you don't have to go at it quite so hard. You can just do it a bit smarter. With a few of the tricks you've learned along the way. Snow Crusher was built about 25 years ago. Wow. So 2000-ish. Mate, you should email me some photos of it. I'd be interested to see what you got. So what sort of condition is it in? Is it a sad 25 years later, or is it like still in good shape? I know some of those 2000 era hot rods need building again, and some are still in great condition. So JR question. So from JR. I purchased an old armoured truck vehicle. It supposedly came from Upper East Coast, and all of them destroyed, but this one. How do you search for antique armoured bank trucks? Well, you don't, do you? I guess what you'd have to try and figure out is who built it and what chassis was it, because the armoured truck would have been built by a company that built armoured trucks, and it would have been on a Ford chassis or a Chevy chassis or something, Dodge. So what parts are you looking for? Like, are you looking for, parts that make it the armoured truck or more mechanical stuff? Steve Sadusky, yeah, I've noticed it takes me a little longer in my hot rod work now in comparison to when I was young and dumb. Yep. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, I miss Paul Newman more. Yeah. I go along with that. Yep. Josh Homan, that's too bad. God rest his soul. Yeah. Yep. Barracuda, Jeff, that's exactly what my son said. There you go. Wow. I don't know that my son would know who either of those actors were. Jeff Hutchins, no keyword. They put in the 318 because they wanted it to be fast. Well, yes. Yeah, well, the 318, 230 horsepower, it's got to go pretty good. Go quicker than your average 46 Ford. Stephen Carter, good evening, Kiwi. Perfect timing. Well, welcome along. Driveway of Misfits, Barracuda, The Sting. That was a very good movie, wasn't it? That was an awesome movie. Another one I remember seeing in the movie theaters. So, yeah. Oh, JR, Chevy 3600. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Josh Homan, an old armoured truck in your driveway, certainly a good conversation piece. Yeah. Barracuda, downhill racer. Okay. Not sure I'm familiar with that one. Oh, geez, Snow Crusher. I think I might get UDG to hop up the 318 and then get him to send it to Nick for a dyno test. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that. Yeah, you'll have the pistons in backwards and too much bearing clearance and who knows what going on with your 318. But, should last 3-4 runs down the quarter mile. It's being a bit bitchy, isn't it? Pop's Mustang Shop. Hey, welcome along, man. My brother built a Monaro from a new 1996 GDO. He ordered the bumpers, trim, and all the badges to convert it. He had to get a firearms dealer license. Really? To import the Monaro steering wheel airbag? Good Lord, really? So did he convert it to right-hand drive as well? Just why he needed the steering wheel airbag and couldn't use a local one. Oh, JR, no parts, just looking for its history. Ooh. History, wow. Yeah, mate, I don't know whether anyone would have saved it. Was there any markings on it? Like, was it a particular company? Yeah, that's it. That's going to be tough trying to find history on that, I would think, because even if you can figure out who had, whose company it was, what records they would have are probably slim. That's a tough one. Just got to keep digging. Is there? Sounds a bit of a stretch, but would there be any Facebook groups on armored trucks? There's Facebook groups for just about everything. So yeah, I'd have a little search around Facebook, see if there's other people out there with them, and if you can find a few others that have got them. Obviously, it's not going to be a group with 3,000 members, but if there's a few of them, they might have already be a little bit further down this road than what you've managed to get so far. So yeah, Facebook be my advice. Driveway of Misfits, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Yep, that was a great movie too. That was a great movie. Stephen Carter, what do you know about funnel port manifolds? Oh, excuse me. Oh, definitely picked up a cough, a bit of the flu. Sorry, guys. Now, Stephen Carter, sorry. And now, do you mean tunnel port manifold? Not a funnel, because I'm not familiar with a funnel port, but I do know about a tunnel port. So just confirm that's what you got, and we'll carry on. Tavo, just did the thinking back. It was 2013 when I decided I was going to find a Valiant to restore in tribute of my old Pacer. 12 years later, I'm finally into it properly. Well, mate, you can't rush these things. You know how it is. Yeah, there's a lot of hot rods have taken 10 or more years to build. But yeah, I mean, as long as you get to those goals, really, it doesn't matter too much, does it? Barracuda, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Bolivia. There was a different movie with Bolivia there? Huh, wasn't aware of that one. Josh Homan, having to get a gun dealer's license to import an airbag is a bit much. That does seem a little crazy, yeah. But I guess it's probably about the gunpowder in them. They do literally have gunpowder in them, or some, variant of gunpowder. So, interesting stuff. But I mean, they obviously ship airbags around the world, replacement ones. But yeah. Andy Nickel, when I started building guitars 30 odd years ago, I would do 16-hour days. I was obsessed. Now it's 70. I'm lucky if I get 6 hours in. Well, mate, it's 70. You should kind of be on the back porch, in your rocking chair, bud, really. 70. But hey, good for you. For putting in 6 hours a day. That's what all I can say. Good for you, man. You're obviously still getting it done. So, but yeah, 16 hours a day will. That's brutal. Pop's Mustang shop, an RO emblem on the steering wheel airbag instead of the GTO. Right, okay, that makes sense. Yep. Okay. Wow, he did it thoroughly, didn't he? Good for him. Because those airbags aren't cheap. Jeff Hutchins, Snow Crusher. I have a stock bottom and rebuilt 318 with a shaved imported 360 head with a pretty big cam, 400 horse. There's a lot of 400 horsepower recipes out there for 318. Not the UTG quick and sloppy. Yeah, you can get 400 horsepower reliably, and with some longevity. Yeah, I mean, you need some. It's not cheap to build engine, so you need some longevity in it, unless you really are just going for that last tenth of a second or half a tenth. Yeah, and have got the budget to not care. Stephen Carter from Oz, New Zealand. If that question's for me, I am from New Zealand, mate, hence the Kiwi Classics and Customs. Yep. Where we are. Driveway of Misfits were armoured cars built to order. Maybe you can identify the original purchaser based on the features. Yep. Conrad Slee. My mini-me. That's my boy. He's dropped in to say hello. Good to have you here, man. If you were to do a road trip with your son, which one of your cars would you use? It would have to be the KSV 9000, I think. We'll dust that off, and that's not a terrible idea. Not a terrible idea at all. But yeah, I think the KSV, and you'd actually be able to drive it now, because I always told him he wasn't allowed to drive it till he was at least 25, which he is now. So yeah, you might even be able to. You might be one of the handful of people, very small handful of people that have ever driven that car. So it's not even one hand. Yeah, I think there's me, John Broussard, drove it. I think that's it. So yeah, there's only 2 people who have driven that car. Now this is roaring down the page a little bit. Here we go. Barracuda, Paul Newman finished second at Le Mans 1978, isn't it? That's a pretty good effort. That's a second in class. It wouldn't be second overall, would it? Driveway with Misfits. I thought airbags use a chemical reaction to fire off, not an explosive like gunpowder. Okay, fair point. I'm not. Yes, outside of my area of expertise. I thought. Yeah, I mean they may vary how they're done, but I mean, technically speaking, gunpowder is a chemical. Oh, you mean a mixture of 2 chemicals together? Could be. Maybe the earlier ones had gunpowder in them. I know they make a lot of smoke when they do go off. Matt Kennedy, just starting restoration of a 74 MGB I bought 8 years ago. Appreciate all the learnings from you, Kiwi. Well, yeah, you're most welcome, eh? The MB. So you're building your MGB sort of alongside building of the Alpine. So 2 sort of similar cars, similar era. Well, when I say era, I mean those are 13 years apart, those 2 cars. But the MGB started quite a bit earlier in the 60s, didn't it? When would the first MGBs come out? They'd have been mid-60s, wouldn't they? So there was an overlap between the later Alpines and the earlier MGBs. Barracuda, most governments want you working till you're 70. This is very true. And that's so they don't have to pay you as much retirement, usually. Because they know, like, if you retire at 70, there's got a fairly limited number of years left at that point. Tavo, my lounge room is getting destroyed. Cat is chasing a fly. Okay. Mate, that'd make a good short. You should video that and post it. Yeah, mate, it'll probably be the biggest viewed short you've done. People love watching that stuff on YouTube. Snow Crusher just going to be gone for an ice cream cruiser. So it's just going to be go for an ice cream cruiser. So a stock 318 will be fine. It does have a 4-barrel. There you go. That's all you need. Stephen Carter's Ford small block Parker funnel web. Funnel web. Okay, I have to be honest and tell you I don't know anything about those. I thought you were talking about the tunnel port on like the FE engines, but the Parker funnel web. No, honestly, I have not had any dealings with that. So sorry, mate. But one thing I have found, a lot of these little more unusual manifolds tend to be very high RPM stuff. Good horsepower, but you lose some of the mid-range and you've got to rev them fairly hard to get them into the sweet spot. So I would just, you're just going to have to do a bit of internet research on that one. And certainly a lot of small block Ford sort of channels and forums around that there's going to be someone who knows about those firsthand. But yeah, just be wary of that peakiness of some of these intakes. Matt Kennedy, first car was a 73 318 Satellite. Not a great runner, but taught me a lot. Yeah, the Satellite was a big car though, wasn't it? It was a big car. And it was hitting the smog era then too. I'll bet you the horsepower was down. Do a road trip with your boy to the Fall Carlisle, mate. That when I said that, I did think about that. That crossed my mind. But we're awfully close to that 1 to 5 of October. That's just a couple of weeks away, and to get that car ready, it needs at least 3 or 4 days spent on it and gone through to make a trip like that. And I just don't have that. I just don't have it right now. I got some, several customers like breathing down my neck to get their cars done, and so yeah, that did flash through my mind, and it's just like, if it was a month away, then maybe, but yeah. And I'm not sure how he's right in the thick of, I'm not sure when he's thinking, but he's right in the thick of his medical studies. He's in medical school. So hopefully he's going to be able to look after me when I can't look after myself, So yeah, I don't know whether he'd be able to have, a week away right now, or at least in 2 weeks' time. Barracuda, I didn't have anything to feed my cat last night. I cooked her a sausage and she turned her nose up at it. Really? Can't have been that hungry then. Mind you, she might have liked it more if it was raw. Tavo, he caught it. Good on. Well done, Tavo cat. Well done. Driveway of Misfits. Mrs. Kiwi hasn't driven it and she still lets you in the house. Mate, she doesn't want to. She doesn't even like to ride in it. Like it's very loud. It's very in your face. And it's kind of an all or nothing car. And yeah, it's not her favourite car, is it, dear? The KSV 9000. A bit obnoxious? Yes, there you go. See, that was straight from the horse's mouth. A little bit obnoxious. But, that's what hot rodding's about, isn't it? Like being loud and proud and in your face. Yeah. Andy Nickel, not ready for the rocking chair yet, and when it's time, I'll have to build the chair myself. Well, you've got the skill set to do it, mate. So there you go. The dude, surely you would let me drive it. Okay, I'm going to plead the fifth on that one. It's a yeah. Yeah, we won't repeat that. What she just said. Get out of here. Go on. She's getting cheeky tonight. She hasn't even had a bourbon. Sid Luscious, we built a 1973 40 with X heads on Coors Light. On Coors Light. Okay. Josh Homan, airbags do use explosive charges. I thought they did. Okay. Yeah, shut up the page. Here we go. Jeff Hutchins, Paul Newman was a real car guy and a good guy. All of his salad dressing profits have gone to charity. Class act for Holly Weir. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah. Yes, he was a big car guy. Him and Steve McQueen. I think Steve McQueen was a bit more of a hardcore racer than Paul Newman, but I might be wrong there. Not something I followed super close. But yeah, yeah, he did a lot of charity work, and it's still going on. I mean, even since he's gone, all that stuff, those charities are still going on. And his Paul Newman image, logo, badged products still paying into charity, which is awesome. Yeah. Sid Luscious, friend put it in a power wagon in 1978. It would wind up. I bet it would. Greenhouse jug, aren't they compressed CO2 that fires off? I thought it was explosives, and I mean, yeah, I'm not going to bet the house on it, but I've heard them go off, and they go off like a gun. They really do. I remember years ago watching a test in an upholstery shop that I did a little bit of work with. Were making seat covers, and they had to actually test that the seat covers didn't restrict the airbags in the seats, because it had the side airbags in the seat. So they were making leather covers for them, and they had to design a burst panel to let the airbag out. So they had to test them and do like super slow-mo filming of it so that they could prove that it wasn't restricting, the speed of the airbag. And then listening and watching that was pretty impressive. That was like a big ass shotgun going off. It's no wonder people kind of stagger out of a car that's had all the airbags go off looking a bit, confused and dazed, because they are. Yeah. Sid Luscious, my kilt not getting a rise. Okay. Stephen Carter, thank you. It's vintage. Okay, not sure what you're referring to there, mate. Barracuda, if you make me sausages, I'll eat them. I'm not finicky and more appreciative than your cat. Well, there you go. See, you've got a new friend, Barracuda. Look, Driveway Misfits, looked it up. Some airbags used, I can't even say that. Something nitrate and copper nitrate. Some side curtain airbags use compressed gas. Oh, maybe that's what Granny's joke's talking about, the CO2. Yeah, much smaller airbag. So yeah, maybe CO2 had enough to fill them, inflate them. So yeah, I'm sure there's been a few different driving, forces behind airbags. I remember reading somewhere, God knows where, that American car airbags had more power than a lot of other countries, because Americans were notorious for not wearing their seatbelts. So they had to have a little bit more grunt in their airbags. Now, this is going back quite a few years. So, things may well have changed now. So it's a pretty, qualify that with saying it's a pretty old piece of information. But yeah, Americans were not very good at wearing their seatbelts and needed more powerful airbags because the seatbelt wasn't helping them at all as they weren't wearing it. So there you go. Barracuda, a long way to go for sausages. Wow, yeah. Driveway of Misfits. Mexican Spec's son is also starting to be a doctor. Oh, well, that's cool. That's cool. Steve Sadusky, don't forget everyone to give Kiwis Live a thumbs up. Give it a like. Yes, please do, guys. The more the merrier. It all helps. Helps the algorithm, which is struggling a little bit right now. Yeah, so keep things going. That'll be awesome. Barracuda, do you flies in Australia? Mate, have you not heard of the Australian wave? It's like, that's the Australian wave. That's all the flies they have. Josh Homan, they do, only bigger. Yeah, exactly. The dude, get your official Kiwi merch. Yep, at my shop on the homepage of Kiwi, or just email me directly, guys. Yep, thank you, dude. Appreciate that. Don's Manufactory, hot rodding. Just drove my 66 Stang from Portland, Oregon to Las Cruces, New Mexico. Well, that's a good drive. That's a very good drive. That's awesome. Wow, no problems along the way. Just purred like a kitten. Snow Crusher. Newman was sports car racing well into his 70s. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty impressive. Obviously kept himself young, didn't he? Good for him. Good for him. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, I figured you'd deliver the sausage. Geez, I thought we were friends. Will you pay the airfare? Yeah. Yeah, it's a flight. It certainly is a flight. Tavo, kids' mother's 2006 Honda has 10 airbags. My 2008 Transit has 1. There you go. Transit, yeah, those vans dodged so many safety requirements because they were a commercial vehicle. But yeah. Pop's Mustang shop. My brother did that conversion almost 30 years ago. His Monaro gets lots of looks on Woodward Avenue. People come out of the crowd and say, look, a Monaro. That's cool. 30 years ago. Wow. I suppose it is that long, isn't it? Yeah, because that GTO / Monaro was that'd have been 95s, I guess, yeah, ish. Wow, time flies, doesn't it, guys? It's just amazing. Barracuda, I googled it. Was 1979. Newman came in second at Le Mans overall, it seems, not just in class. Wow, that's a hell of an effort. That's a hell of an effort. Doesn't matter who you are. Or how much backing you've got, really, to come second in Le Mans outright is wow. I'm really shocked by that. That's an amazing achievement. Granddad's Junk, there's been a couple of drivers getting broken noses from airbags. Yeah. I knew of, I didn't know him directly, but I knew of a tech or mechanic, whatever you want to call him, who was working on a car and he was turning the steering and something triggered the airbag and he had his arms crossed over like that, steering, and the airbag went off and it actually broke his arm on his face. So, yeah, they have some power. They have some power. Driveway of Misfits. I thought the fly was the official bird of Australia. That's funny. Oh, Lord. Have I been misinformed? I think you may have been, buddy. Wow. Jeff Hutchins, my truck has 2 airbags, one on top of each rear leaf spring. Yeah, not quite the same thing, but yeah, that's funny. Don's manufactory car ran great. Only failure, both low beams went out 20 miles of each other. Wow. Dark, nice. Dark, rainy night. Awesome. David Tyree, I have no use for airbags. Yeah. They've saved a lot of damage. They've caused a lot of damage to cars, but they've saved a lot of damage to the occupants. Often airbags will write off a car or make it a total loss. If like 4 or 5 or 6 of the airbags go off, it's a massive expense, and the cars just get totaled. But interesting. Why do you say you have no use for airbags, David? Just rather not have them? Jeff Hutchins, a mosquito is the official bird of Alaska. Kiwi is responsible for some broken noses in his younger days. Well, more of a lover than a fighter. But yeah, it's there's always a little bit in your history, isn't there? Josh Homan, getting a broken nose from a deployed airbag is pretty much standard. Really? Okay. Tom's manufacturer. There's no dark, rainy nights in Oregon. Barracuda. I think some of the main contenders dropped out with crashes and mechanical failures. Yeah, well, I mean, people sometimes people will take away from people's results in an event because others crashed out or others broke down. But at the end of the day, they didn't. So it's people can be a little bit negative and kind of go, oh yeah, but, and it's like, yeah, and I mean, if Ayrton Senna never crashed, then everything would be a bit different, wouldn't it? But I mean, like the best of the Formula Ones, the best of the NASCAR guys, they all crash. They all have mechanical failures. So it's just, if you can get yourself to second in Le Mans, then just getting to the end of the Le Mans is something. Jeff Dean, I hear the only thing worse than hitting an airbag is hitting something other than an airbag. Yeah, it's not a fun experience. From what I've never had one go off or at all. So I don't know, but I've certainly seen the aftermath, and I've seen a few nose to tail collisions, and literally people kind of stagger out of the cars. Like if you're right there when it happens, it's amazing how much smoke comes out of those airbags. And people are usually coughing and, just dazed and confused, but, they haven't mashed their face into the steering wheel. Tavo, all the cars I've owned with airbags, I've never used them. What a waste of resources and money. Ooh. That's an interesting take on it, Tavo. It's an interesting one. I was probably a little more like you, and then my son had a very bad accident, which was not his fault. He got hit head on by an F100 truck, F150, I think it was actually, and he was in a Ford Fiesta, and without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion, the airbag saved him. And without the airbags, he may have survived, but it would have been bad. And as it was really not bad at all. So suddenly, when you see the car and what happened, and you see the other car, and suddenly the value of those airbags goes up dramatically. So yeah, it's I hate to disagree with you, Tavo, but yeah, I'm not. yeah, there's certainly a lot of money is spent on them. A lot of them don't get used, which is a good thing. But when they're used and it's one of yours, it sheds a different light on it, mate. Granddad's young, not sure about you guys. What's wrong with not crashing? Well, that's a brilliant plan. That really is. That's probably one of the best plans I've heard in a long time. But as we all know, plans don't always go to plan. David Tyree, I don't crash. It's worked for 49 years driving so far. Well, yeah, I mean that's really fair. And that's a great driving record. It really is. But yeah, not everyone's that lucky, and sometimes it is just dumb luck. My boy was doing nothing wrong. He was on the right side of the road. He was on his side of the road. Just this F-150 truck came over the brow of a hill, like over the crest, overtaking another car, and he had nowhere to go. And 15 seconds either way, it would have been the accident probably wouldn't have happened. So sometimes it's not, obviously you've been driving brilliantly for 49 years and you haven't had luck go against you when it was just someone else's fault completely. So driveway of misfits. Family member was in an accident earlier this year, walked away unharmed because of the airbags. Yeah, exactly. So what value do you put on that? Like that's a lot. That's a lot. Jeff Hutchins, are you saying someone was giving Kiwi the piss or taking the piss? Jeff Hutchins, what are you referring to there? Hang on. Let me go back up here. Oh, stupid thing. Not sure what you're talking about there, Jeff. I've missed something here. Jeff Dean. What did Jeff Dean say? Didn't see it. There you go. Josh Homan, I would think the polar bear would be the state bird of Alaska. Oh my God. Great. Ah, dear. Driveways misfits. I thought giving Kiwi the piss was the national sport of Australia. Have I been misinformed? You have been misinformed. So it's taking the piss, not giving the piss. You take the piss out of someone. Driveway of misfits. IIRC. The smoke is actually talcum powder. Acts as a lubricant. Really? Okay. Didn't know that. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Interesting. Talcum powder as a lubricant. I know some of those tight-fitting kind of sports outfits, they use talcum powder to help those people work their way into them. So what does it do? Help the airbag roll out? Interesting. Barracuda, can an airbag be disabled? Yes, it can. Is it legal? No, it's not. Well, not sure about here. But my understanding is it's illegal to tamper with an airbag. Jeff Hutchins, Tavo, go out and put them in use. No sense in wasting them. Oh gosh, that's not really tongue-in-cheek, but fair enough. I use all the other gadgets, stereo, cruise control, even use the ABS, but never used an airbag. There you go. Fair enough. Okay, I missed the tongue-in-cheek, but that's okay. But I mean, still a story worth sharing. Barracuda funnel web manifolds appear to be made in Australia. Okay. David Tyree, don't get me wrong, I've avoided crashes. Well, yeah, as you do. Barracuda. Extracting the urine. Yes, that's another way of putting it. Indeed. Indeed. Granddad's joke, it's still a driver passing when they shouldn't be. People do real dumb shit while driving. Oh, exactly. Exactly. And it was a young or teenage girl driving that truck that hit my boy. So, and she'd had two other run-ins with the police, traffic wise. So yeah, she was a problem. Tavo, only real hard crash I've been in. Shoved the driver's side front wheel back 6 inches, but the cabin stayed intact. Dash and steering wheel stayed where they were built, and seatbelt held me in place. There you go. 1970 Valiant. There you go. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. What a waste of a Valiant, though. But hey, you lived to tell the tale. So, and you had your seatbelt on, so that was a good thing. Oh, I just read that. Just about snorted my bourbon there. Barracuda. I've tampered with an airbag, but we're not together anymore. Oh, the feminists are going to be coming for you, buddy. Snow Crusher. What the heck? Has nobody ever powdered a tube when fitting it to the wheel tire assembly? You use talcum powder, baby powder. Whew. Been a long time since I fitted a tube in a tire, I can tell you that much. But yeah, you make a good point. If I remember rightly, when you put a new tube in, they usually had some sort of white powder on them, which would have been talcum powder. Yeah, there you go. But I haven't fitted many tubes into tires, to be fair. But yeah, I've never, certainly never used baby powder when fitting them. Granny's junk. The moral of the story is real cars are safe. Yep. It's nice to have a little bit of steel work around you. Jeff Hutchins. Was it a hot airbag? I mean that in two different ways. I'm sure you do. Fairly. I'm sure she'd be delighted to hear that she just rated a fairly hot. Snow Crusher. Still mini tubes used in motorcycles. Well, yeah, okay. That'd be why, I don't think I've ever changed a motorcycle tyre, ever. I'm sure I haven't. Yeah. Richard Stanbury, do you think a Nash Metropolitan would be an easy candidate to frame swap on a Miata chassis? That's a good question. I've never really thought too much about the dimensions of the Miata. It's just basically doing some work with your tape measure. It's how wide is it? What the wheelbase is. Yeah, and then they're both 2 doors and they're both small, but the Miata is quite a wide little car, which may cause you issues. But yeah, I've never really. The Nash Metropolitan is pretty small. You might find it's a bit shorter and a bit narrower than the Miata, which will. That's part of the reason. Like with the Alpine, I'm having to stretch it and lengthways and widen it, so to make it as big as the Miata. So yeah, it's need to break out the tape measure, brother. Break out the tape measure. Find yourself a Miata that you can have for a couple of hours and take a bunch of measurements. And measure things like where the firewall is in relation to the front wheels, where the seats fit in the Miata compared to the Metropolitan. stuff like that, where how far the back wheels are behind the door openings, and or where the seat typically sits. Not that, because you're not going to use the doors, but yeah, there's it's more than just width versus length. It's how the stuff's going to fit within all the other stuff, as well as where the wheels are. Tony the Tuner, with our drag slicks we use tubes all the time. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Jeff Hutchins, aren't motorcycles those things organ donors, right? Oh, yeah, that's a little bit black humor there, but I get it. That's why I don't ride a motorcycle, man. I want to be around for a little bit longer, and the motorcyclists tend to point the finger pretty quickly at the motorists, but if it's me riding a bike, you'd have to be like, I wouldn't trust myself, not the other motorists so much. I wouldn't trust myself. Tony the Tuner, the Nash will be more narrow. Yeah, that's what I said. I think how wide it is, you could run into trouble. Now what have we got? Matt Kennedy, good to know on tout. We'll be fitting new tubes on MGB. There you go. There's a handy hint. JR, a truck tyre falls out of a pickup truck. Car in front of me swerves into the next lane and a direct hit. Truck tyre and rim. Ow. Airbag didn't go off? Wow. But the van saved me, took the hit. Interesting. That's I would have thought that would have been enough to trigger the airbags, but depends where the sensors are, I guess. The sensor's probably mounted on the chassis rail, so if it was up above that might explain it. Hang on, you boys are going too fast for me. Don't care to. Yep, we all sign our donor cards, LOL. Tubes and motorcycle tyres with spoked rims. Yeah, well, that makes sense. It's very hard to seal up a spoke. The dude, I saw a YouTuber build a Miata with a slant 6 and a wooden firewall. I just can't remember who. Man, I didn't know that he put a wooden firewall in it. Did he really? Oh, that's rough, even given who it is. Yeah, wow. The dude, Tony who? Jeff Hutchins, isn't the talc on the tube to keep the friction down between the tube and the tyre carcass in use on the road or trail? Good question. I was assuming that it would be to help the tube, like, find its happy place within the tyre when you're inflating it. That's where my logic took me. And I would have thought it, 25, 35 PSI, I wouldn't have thought there'd be any moving between the tube and the tyre. I would have thought they'd have moved as one. But you might be right. I mean, that's just a theory. Pops in my head. That Miata was great. Baldo. Oh, dear. Having a little ragging on Tony session. Oh, well. He's got broad shoulders. He can take it. Tavo, if I didn't have so much other unfinished stuff going on, I'd be looking at getting another bike for cruising. Wow, good for you, man. Yes, the holes. Hey, welcome along, man. Good job, Kiwi. Quick question. Do you have one of those old school tune-up machines in the workshop? They're like a big cabinet and they have an oscilloscope and wires everywhere. No, mate, I don't. Yeah, I've got some basic hand, like good timing light, 12 meter, stuff like that, vacuum gauge, that sort of stuff, which is, you can do some of that oscilloscope stuff had its uses in the day, back in the day, but it's really really kind of outdated now. Yeah, I mean, you could test a lot of stuff with those. You could even test condensers and stuff. You know, they were we're much more of a throwaway society now. You know, like if you know, you just put a new condenser in there, you don't test it to see if it's still working because it's not worth the time to test it. Just put a new one in. That's the world we're in today. Mate, guys, I'm just going to quickly top this up because my throat's killing me. Give me 30 seconds, I'll be back. Hopefully you can still hear me. So this is strictly medicinal purposes as a numbing agent. So yeah, that's my excuse. Right, where were we? Barracuda. I just repainted my VC Valiant black driving it to work. I was blinded by the sun and ran into a parked bus. Ouch! Which peeled my fender right back. No damage to the bus. Oh dear. That just adds insult to injury, doesn't it? Snow Crusher. I've been riding motorcycles since the first year Honda Mini Trails were sold in Canada about 1967. Wow. That's a long time. Volfly clinging to his chimichanga. Those are good. Now, what you're saying there about you've been riding motorbikes since 1967. I read somewhere, and again, it was a few years ago, so I'm not sure what the latest figures are. And it meant a few years ago I was in New Zealand, so it was a little while ago. But they said that if you rode a bike for more than 10 years, and not actively, I don't mean like riding once a month, you know, for a Sunday cruise, but riding it like to work and back and like several times a week kind of thing. If you did that for more than 10 years, there was a 50% chance you were going to get killed. 50%. That's very high. Yeah, but I don't know whether that statistic still holds true today. But I tell you what, I don't know how busy the world is up where you are, Snow Crusher, but, you know, I've driven around LA and, I mean, they're just daredevils. The guys that ride around in LA on motorbikes, like in the traffic there it blows my mind. They have far larger balls than I do. Don's Manufactory, good night. All right, good night, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Barracuda, my first bike was a Honda SL125. There you go. I think the first motorbike I had was I think it was a Honda. It was a Honda 80 big wheel. And we used to use it as a pit bike. We'd take it on the rallies and, just a little mini bike, a little wee thing. And you could actually get two people on it, but it was a comedy with two people on it. But yeah, you could do it. And at least you didn't have far to fall because it was such a little tiny mini bike. But yeah, we would throw it in the back of the van, the service van for the rallying and carry it around. And we'd tear into the stages and on the little bike and have a watch and come back and fix the car. And yeah, but that was, and then after that I had a quad bike and that was all I ever had. Tony the Tuner, no, we use it to be able to align the Schrader valve on the tube to the rim. Right, just allows them to move against each other. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Jeff Hutchins, they say not to put tubes in radial tyres as the inside of the radial eats the tuber. Interesting. I guess there's a lot more movement in a radial tyre. That's the whole concept of a radial, isn't it? Interesting. And they are all tubeless typically. I'm not sure why you would put a tube inside a radial tyre. Volfly, I got back late, driveway of misfits, switched to chimichangas. We'll go pork chops tomorrow. There you go. Chimichangas sounds good, mate. Did you make those yourself, Volfly, or are they store-bought ones? Tavo, I've got one of those kits from the 80s, timing like 12-meter tack, back gauge, etc. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There wasn't a lot you couldn't do with that, really. Volfly still uses a CRT oscilloscope. Oscilloscope's never obsolete. Okay. What do you use it for, Volfly? I mean, enlighten us. Like, genuinely, I'm not being a smart aleck. Like, what do you use it for these days? Snow Crusher. Now you test new condensers cost most of garbage. Well, yeah, okay. That's fair. Driveway misfits. Used oscilloscopes in college back in the 80s. Now I have a scope the size of a deck of cards. Yeah. Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab. Welcome to the room, Dr. Art. How was Florida? Florida was awesome. I had a great time down there. We went to Key West and Key Largo and had lots of hurricanes and went to the Kennedy Space Center and went and did a dolphin encounter thing up in Orlando. And yeah, it was busy. It was actually a busy week, but a lot of fun. And fun catching up with some Kiwis and you know, partaking in some good Kiwi humour. Granddad's junk. There's nothing like going faster on a motorcycle. It's so cool. Cool. My old CVO Springer, 110 cubic inch. I could cruise at 110 mile an hour. Wow. You're a braver man than me, Granddad's junk. I'm just scared of coming off the damn thing. Barracuda, the only injury I had on a motorcycle was tearing a big toenail off. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess there's worse things than that. Yes, what oscilloscopes used for? Josh Heyman, analysing various electronic components and systems. Actually, yeah, driveway, that's a very, very good way of explaining it, looking at electrical signals graphically, yeah, rather than just numbers. Volfly, I like my palm-sized oscilloscope. My smallest is 1x2. I still use my CRT oscilloscope for those pre-95 vehicles that don't recognise misfire conditions. Okay. And there you go. Yeah, well, I mean, quite possibly I would use one more if I knew how to use one, but I don't. Remembering that I'm a body guy first and mechanic second, so yeah, I don't have the in-depth training that probably Volfly has. So yeah, you could hand me an oscilloscope and I wouldn't really know how to use it without reading all the instructions thoroughly. Anyway, Jeff Hutchins. Off-roaders put tubes in radial tyres to stop or prevent leaks. The tyres are big and expensive. They get the crap beat out of them. Eventually, they can't be patched, plugged anymore. But if you can keep air in them, they're still good. Yeah. And they run such low pressures in off-roading too. It's not that hard to push the tyre off the bead. And then, of course, it's instantly flat then. Whereas if you've got a tube in them, you can actually, you can pull the tyre off the bead and the tube, it won't just go instantly flat. The tube will basically push it back onto the bead. You can keep air in them, they're still good. Yeah, exactly. David Tyree, good Kiwi humour. Who are you taking the piss out of? Yeah. Nobody, mate. Nobody. I would never take the piss out of anybody. Although, to be fair, I did take the piss out of my brother-in-law on a daily basis, but then he was throwing a fair bit back as well. So it was all good. We had a good time. We had a lot of laughing, serious laughing. So it was good. It was good. It's always good for the soul. Laughter is the best medicine and all that. Bourbon's not bad though. It's helping my throat. I know that. Andy Nickel lost the oil plug on my Triumph 650 at 90 mile an hour. That was exciting. Ooh, the word hamburger comes to mind. Wow. Yeah. That's the thing. It goes wrong on a bike. There's not much between you and the planet, is there? Even if there's not another car coming. Now, Volfly. Oh, the chimichangas were frozen. Costco brand. Good quality. Mate, I thought you were such a chef. I'd have thought you'd have just whipped that whole thing up all by yourself and made the tortillas and everything. But, but Costco's, that's pretty good quality. Jeff Hutchins, sorry I mentioned Kiwi's piss. Oh, yes. No, it's very much a Kiwiism. I think Australian too is just taking the piss, making fun of each other, teasing each other, giving each other shit. It's all the same thing. Snow Crusher. A tube is the only way to keep air in those Chinesium hand cart and trolley tyres. Well, yeah. Andy Nicola was fine, but the engine was hamburger. Well, yeah. Yeah, they don't run well without oil. Volfly. What I've been trying to get someone to make is a DC amp clamp with a built-in oscilloscope display. Just clamp it onto a wire and watch to see what's happening. That would be useful. Yeah, that would be useful. See what's drawing what where. Yeah, that would be useful. David Torrey, I catch up with a good mate every Friday and we're always taking the piss out of each other. Very good. That's what friends are for, man. Yeah, that's what we say. If we're making fun of you, taking the piss out of you, that's because we like you. So if someone's making fun of you, it's because they like you. So yeah. Driveway Misfits, Volfly, Eric O from South Main Auto just used a clamp like that in a video a few days ago. Okay. Huh. Tabo, even then I have to pump. That's because you're using Chinese tubes and the Chinese tyres, mate. Volfly, oh, you've piqued his interest there. Yeah, Volfly's going to go searching for South Main Autos. Jeff Hutchins, that's why I like four-wheeled vehicles. There's a little more room for error on bikes and planes. I'm definitely a car fixer. Yes. Andy Nickel, got to run. See you next week. Yeah, it's getting close. Oh, wow. It's 2 minutes to 9. Okay, well, I know we were starting 20 minutes late, guys, but I'm still catching up on sleep from last week. We were never in bed before midnight, and we were always up early. So it was a holiday, but it was hard freaking work. And then I've managed to get a little bit of this flu, but which kind of kicks you in the teeth a little bit. But yeah, so 9 o'clock is I'm out. So we got about a minute. Volfly, Erico knows his stuff. Definitely would give me a run for the money if I was stupid enough to challenge him, not to be underestimated ever. Oh, that's high praise. Jeff Hutchins. I always tell my customers that if I'm nice to you, I either don't know you well enough or I don't like you. That's an interesting kind of PR plan. How's that work for you? I bet some people don't know how to take that. The dude, good night. Dude's checking out. He's had enough. All right. But yeah, that's kind of me as well. Tava, go out in the morning, Kiwi, and buy that new laptop, mate. I'm going to have to do something. This is just junk. But hey, you got to look at my crystal clear image with everything behind me blurred. So, that was such a treat for you, I'm sure. The dude, for Carl, I'll see you there. I'm going to see what I can do, mate. We might see if we can catch a flight up there and just kind of come for a day or two or something like that. Don't count me out yet. Who else have we got? Snow Crusher. Till next week. See you then. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to sign off. And yeah, have a great week. Get to work on your cars. Have some fun. Have some laughs. Go and take the piss out of your friends. They'll love you for it. And I will see you here next week. All right, guys. Have a good one. Take it easy.